Very good.
Remember these kids who were having the time of their lives? These guns are real, and time and again, they signal they know it.
Someone's coming. They're coming. They're coming. Hide the guns. Hide the guns.
These children were ages 3 to 8, and half of them had been given a course on what to do when they see a gun.
And you can never play with guns.
They were also shown a videotape that the NRA touts as a real deterrent to accidental shootings. But watch what happened after the lecture. We planted disabled handguns in a playroom. We sent children in 2 by 2.
A gun.
Most of the children found the guns, and more than half far preferred them to any toy. A pretend shootout at high noon. A virtual Annie Oakley. Cops and robbers.
Put your hands up.
And if the guns had been loaded,
Shoot me.
this scene could have been real too. Most of the kids just couldn't resist them, and the children who got the lecture played just as dangerously. But in 10 hours of watching these kids, perhaps the most amazing thing we saw was this. In a corner of the room next to the crayons, we put this tray of bullets. The silver ones were dummy bullets, the gold ones were spent shells. And now, watch what these 2 boys do next. They immediately go to work trying to load the guns.
Are you fitted that done?
And they're just 3 years old. In that first report, we also showed some surprised parents how their hidden guns were no secret to their young kids. This father watches as his 10-year-old daughter goes to the bedside nightstand. Her father warns her to stop.
You got to stop it.
Little Michelle let out a gasp.
Woo.
It was a .38 revolver, unlocked, and as her father showed us, fully loaded. And just one of several in the house. Would you ever have suspected that Michelle knew where the gun was?
No, not whatsoever.
And how accessible are the guns in your neighbors' houses? Listen to 10-year-old Brandon describe what happened one day at a friend's house. He says his playmate was showing off.
He had his friend's gun behind his door, and his mom and dad didn't know about it, and he took it out behind it, and he was pointing it around the room, and he was starting to get it towards me, and I ducked.
We played the tape for Brandon's father.
You know, that clip right there gives you a jar. First time I've heard about it.
But most striking to us was what happened when Matthew, the young son of the expert you met earlier tonight, Dr. Marjorie Hardy, participated in our experiment. Her son, she said back then, had been trained so well he'd never touch a gun.
A show comes on in which there is some shooting or violence. He'll say, oh, change the channel, there's a gun on TV. We're not supposed to watch guns. Guns are bad.
At our warning lecture, Matthew repeatedly interrupted.
Yes, Matthew.
We don't play with guns.
We don't play with guns. That's right.
So we watched closely as Matthew went into play. For almost 5 minutes, he seemed completely oblivious to the guns.
He's ignoring that. That's my boy.
As his playmate found not one, but all 3, and aimed one right at him. Then, after 10 minutes, Matthew made his move.
I won't touch guns. I'm touching a gun.
This little boy who would never touch a gun, who has been trained his whole life to avoid them, opened fire.
I got a cannon. I got a gun. A big one.
I would have thought if any kid could resist it, Matthew could. And he didn't.
Suddenly, this clinical psychologist became just another frightened mother, helpless to protect her son in a world full of guns.
As a mother, I'm devastated. And I'm scared to let him out of my sight. And I'm scared to let him play at someone's house. And I'm going to have to do all those things. And I'm just going to have to pray every day that he'll be okay.